Roberto Barboza. I'm not shy at all. Even though I was ugly, I would go up to her and be like, hey, hey,
what's up?
Well, my name's Robert, and I always had a good sense of like, I didn't like thieves, right? But somehow I winded up being a thief, taking the door out. What I would do is I would take the door, bolts on the door, I would take it out. And then that's where I start, and then disconnecting the wiring harness for the engine. Well, when I was doing that, I felt something right here in my head. And then I was like, what is that? And they said, get down. So I got down. Boom, the doors, Harris County Police Department, And what I learned in jail, which helped me to be a better person, believe it or not, is respect. There's a difference between fear and respect. I'm going to tell this embarrassing story. But it's good entertainment, so here we go. But the first time I went to jail.
What is your full name, man?
My full name is Roberto Barboza.
Roberto Barboza. Where you from?
I was born in California, in Anaheim, Orange County.
Really? My wife was born in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah. Part of her family is still up there.
There's nothing we wouldn't do for our pets. They're like our children. Our friends at Pet Club 24/7 have developed natural products that contain the most potent strain of a mushroom that's been used for thousands of years to help support the immune system. So visit their website today to discover how they're changing the way that pets and their parents are being treated for the better.
In San Francisco area.
I have maybe one aunt and two cousins out there on my mom's side. Yeah. And I have some family on my dad's side, but I don't really know them too well. But I was mostly raised out here in Humboldt, Texas.
Humboldt?
Yeah. I guess we'll start there. But I was a trouble kid.
You were?
Yeah. I was like,
for what?
Oh, man, for everything. I got in fights. I would just a class clown, not pay attention. And it was pretty crazy days. It was around the 2000 area, where, Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach, all that type of music.
Oh, yeah.
And, well.
There was a good time, though.
Yeah, there were good times. Very good times.
Yeah, there were barely internet. Mostly was interaction with people. There were no internet, no phones.
Exactly. So I was the type that, and I'm still like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shy at all. So like if I see a beautiful girl, when I was young, even though I was ugly, I would go up to her and be like, hey, hey,
what's up?
Well, my name's Robert, and my friends always would use me. So like if they liked a girl or something, they would be like, hey, Robert, you're friendly. Go talk to them,
Oh, man.
And I would,
You were the icebreaker.
Yeah, I was the icebreaker. Or the wingman.
The
too.
wingman, yeah. That's good, man. That's good years. So you were raised humble for when did you get to humble?
I think so when we first came from California, I was 7 years old.
You were 7 years old.
And we lived in Katy. Then we moved to a Memorial City. And the reason why, because my dad sold the house in California, so he came with a lot of money. So, we were living in like Katy, and then as the money kept going down, we kept going to, reverting.
Yeah, because Katy's popping.
Yeah.
Katy's I've still the place though.
Yeah,
a lot of people moved to Katy though. Yeah. Katy's good.
Pretty
I thought I had a friend over there in Katy. He helped me out to move over here. But I would consider Katy like out of the whole Houston area on the top 3.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
It's
also Memorial City,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. So you've been here like pretty much all your life.
All my life, yeah.
Yeah. And you were telling me off camera that you got in jail. You got in trouble. You went to jail.
Yes.
Why you went to jail?
So I always had the mentality of making money. So when I was about 16, I started learning about cars, and this was before the Fast and Furious, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I was all into like drifting, and so I was getting into the car. They had car meets, and again, I'm 16. I'm still in high school, and I was wanting to be a mechanic, so I learned to be a mechanic, learned how to work cars, and I always had a good sense of like I didn't like thieves, right? But somehow I winded up being a thief, But not in the sense that I went and stole cars, but what I did is I was working at this auto shop in Humble, and the guy there, I guess, had a chop shop, where they bring stolen cars
And swapping.
and break it in pieces, and then they would sell it out there in Shepherd. So I joined in that. I was getting paid $600 a car, just breaking them apart. You'd bring me a car, I would chop it all up, a pile of debris and parts, and then they sell them in the junkyards, And I think when I was 19, we got busted, and it came on the news, and all that. Yeah, and what helped me, because that's called organized crime, right? And it was for 60 motor vehicles. So
That's a lot of.
yeah, and it was crazy because they had just brought in a Nissan, and at that time was like a 2005 or 2003 or 2004. I forgot. I think it was 2004 because it's happened in 2005. So I was taking the door out. What I would do is I would take the door bolts on the door. I would take it out. And then that's where I start, and then disconnecting the wiring harness for the engine. Well, when I was doing that, I felt something right here in my head. And then I was like, what is that? And they said, get down. So I got down. And then, boom, the doors, Harris County Police Department, the sheriffs, and that's how we got busted. But long story short, I wind up going to court. And if it wasn't for the guy... because he had multiple shops all over Houston. I don't want to say his name, but when we went to court, he had people that didn't have papers, like illegals, that worked for him, and they didn't know what they were doing. He just said, "Hey, you want some overtime? Come work over here. We need to take these apart." And so when they arrested all these people, he said, him, and then he pointed at me, this guy. They don't know anything about it. If you look at my books, they're just workers. They thought so. I was like, yes, I'm getting scot-free.
Man,
but
you look at it, he didn't bring everybody down with him though.
Yeah, he brought everybody. Yeah, usually
like everybody going to the.
Yeah, but he was a good guy. I mean,
damn.
Well,
I mean,
it's not, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, in a sense, he threw you a towel though. Like we said, he gave you.
Yeah,
he gave you a pass. Like you're not involved. You're just making some side money.
Exactly.
Who would have thought like a 16-year-old kid? You come. I mean, in my mentality, that would be like, hey, you have to take this apart, separate it, and you make $500. Let's say. Yeah. That'd be like, oh, easy peasy. You know what I mean? But damn.
And I wasn't thinking right. And so
how long you ended up staying in jail?
Well, so they let those guys go, and then when you're in jail and you go to court, they go to the room. They have like a cell back there, and that's where they keep all the inmates that are there. And then they send them back to the county, and then the ones that still have court or the judge wants to talk to them, they hold them back. So I was thinking scot-free, we're going. They're like, no, you're staying. So I'm like, okay. So then the district attorney, or I forgot who that was, they called me back in, and they said, hey, he said you weren't involved, but we have footage of you being in one location with them stealing a car. And then I remembered, oh, snaps. Because remember, I've been doing this since 16, now I'm 19 now. So I remember I went on a drive with them, and because I wanted to see how they stole the car, right? The people that steal cars. I was like, hey, when y'all do that, let me just go look. And of course, I was under the influence. I was drinking, and so when I saw them do it, there was a camera there when I was watching them, and I'm like, oh no. And so we started flicking off the camera, because we were drunk and dumb, and so that footage They showed me. They were like, see, that's you, right? My lawyer just looked at me like,
man, you screwed.
yeah.
Damn.
So they gave me 2 years of 4 years of probation, and they dropped the felony and they made it to a Class C or a Class A misdemeanor. I'm sorry, and they gave me 4 years of probation. So I said, okay, I'll sign it, and then I did the probation for about 2 years, and I failed because I started racing and doing that, and so I wound up doing a whole year, 372 days or something like that.
In probation
Or no, in jail.
In jail.
Yeah.
Oh, because you failed probation,
Yeah.
they put you in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically they put you in jail for 3 years.
For a year. It's
For
a year.
Oh, 2 years
Yeah.
to pay for the 2
Correct.
that you had to life in
And
that
because
probation.
I did 2 years of probation where I was doing good, doing community service, but my third year, I got like 3 strikes, and they
snap.
told me, "Hey, you're just gonna do your remaining time
Inside.
in jail." And
How rough was that?
yeah, it was pretty rough. My nose is broken from there. Got into a lot of fights. It is sort of like there, like, you think about racism, it's in there. Everyone sticks to their own kind. The Chicanos with Chicanos, the Mexicans with the Mexicans, the blacks with the blacks, the whites with the whites.
That was the first time you see racism like in that so so vivid in there, because like you're on the street, you don't see
Yeah,
racism.
exactly.
But when you go in there, it's like in controlled environment. That was the first time you seen that, like everybody sticking to their own cliques and
Yeah, that, to be honest with you, yeah, it's you see it in high school, but it's not
at
it's
a
not,
lesser grade.
yeah, but it's not racism. It's just that they just everybody just choose to hang out like that,
Yeah.
But it's not racism. Like there's not like how it is in there, where it's like we used to call in there the black people tiras, like trash, tira, and the language is like, man, this is while the whole time I was there, like, man, this is not me. I'm not gonna, I'm not. I'll be affiliated, but I'm not joining anything.
Yeah.
You can quarter check me, where they test you to see if you have heart, because that's the biggest thing. And so, see, this is, now I don't want to get out of subject, but this is something that, the way I am, whatever position I'm in, I try to find out what I can learn from there. And what I learned in jail, which helped me to be a better person, believe it or not, is respect. There's a difference between fear and respect. And before I went to jail, I thought it was the same thing, And that's the biggest misconception, that respect, when you respect someone, they turn their backs, you're going to respect that person, or you're going to respect, like, example, like a father and a son, right? If I respect my father, and he tells me, hey, don't do this, and he turns away or leaves, I won't do it because I respect him. But if I fear him, I won't do it in front of him. But once he turns around, I'm going to do it, right? So that's one thing I learned from there. And that's why they do this thing called the quarter check, where they say basically they jump you, like you're going to fight, and they look at you, okay, like at that time I was like 135 and 5'6". So they'll put 3 guys around my height to beat me up. And if I'm doing good, right, if I'm holding my own, 2 more guys, because they want to see what your reaction is when you're getting beat up. Like if you're just going to crawl and let yourself get beat up, or you're going to be like, come on, man, come on, bleeding and getting up, that means you have a lot of heart. And if you don't, a lot of people run away or whatever. We know that that's a bit, excuse me for my French, but that's a B. And so yeah, I learned that in there, and believe it or not, I do regret what I did, and obviously can't change the past, but I've learned something from it. And at that point, there was an older guy in there who was cutting hair. And he told me that, old school, we called him OG. And, he told me, he goes, man, you seem like you don't belong here, And I was like, why you say that? And he goes, yeah, because you find two things. Either one, this is your home, you're going to leave and you're going to come back, or two, you find out this is not for you and you won't ever come back. And so, yeah, I found out, yeah, that's me. And I haven't, I was never breaking the law after that, because
Right.
I don't want to go back in there.
Man, that's crazy. Like, so they shake your heart like when like the first week you got there, like you got jumped, or
Well, okay, so
because it different jail, different
Yeah.
pens are different.
yeah, exactly.
You
You
know.
have the when you go in county, they'll either, depending on your age, they'll put you in your age
In
group.
juvenile, and
Yeah, the young ones, they call it the gladiator tank, and that's where
What they call it, the gladiator tank?
because when you're young, you just want to fight. A lot of people fight, and for stupid stuff, for shoes, and
Really?
so while I was on probation, I violated probation. I had to violate probation 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So that means every time you violate, you go back to jail. You go back to county. So I'm gonna tell this embarrassing story, but it's good entertainment. So here we go. But the first time I went to jail, when that stuff happened, they put me in 701 San Jacinto, right? And they give you a wristband. They put you, the black one goes to Baker. And things might have changed, but if the yellow, they're the gays and whatever, and then the red are more the aggravated, and then blue and black is basically general whatever, and the purple are like the sex offenders, and they separate you because some people might have a ticket and they don't want to mix them with those people.
Oh yeah.
And then the way you go, I remember in a cell, there's a door, and it's kind of like a triangle. And there's a cell here, which is a clear glass. Cell here, clear glass. And in the back, another one. And in the middle, there's like a hallway around. In that middle, that's where the guard is at, the picket, right? And I remember, I don't know if the cops did this on purpose to try to scare me, or they really made a mistake. But they gave me the red, the aggravated ones, the ones that are there for like battery or attempted murder or something, right? And they put me in there, and I was like, 17 or 8? Yeah, I had been 17 or 18. It's been a while, but so I get in there, and when if you ever been in, they put you in a tank first, so before you go to it's called the dorm, and when you go in these tanks. It's uncomfortable, so you never get a good meal. They give you these bologna sandwiches, but when they put you in a dorm, you get good warm meals. And when you've been there for 16 hours in a tank, you're like, oh, I want a good meal, So I was going to the dorm, and when I get there, again, I didn't know what the red meant at that time.
Right.
So I get in there, and I get when chow came, meaning when they brought food, and they brought it's like a school lunch, basically, those.
It's like a plastic tray.
Yeah, and they put it in there. So man, I was like hungry, and then the people that delivering the meals, they left, and I sat down. I was about to eat, and this big swole black dude comes. And if he ever watches it,
It look like Debo.
Yeah, like Debo. Yeah, dude. This guy was huge, man. And he comes and he tells me, hey, give me your chow. And man, my life went, I was like, oh my gosh. If I give it to him, I'm a punk, because you think of those jail movies like, right. Blood in, blood out,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, oh man, if I give him, I'm weak. If I don't give it to him, he's gonna want to fight me. He's gonna beat me up. I'm only 5'6". This dude was like 6 foot. He's buff, and So I was like, man, what do I do? And then he's like, give me your chow. Man, I said, you know what? I need to act. Screw it. I grabbed that tray and I threw it at him. I threw it at him so he could like get like that. And I did it with all my guts. I punched him. And when I punched him, it hurt my hand. You know, that's how hard I hit him. And then when I looked, it didn't hurt him. He was just like there, like mad with the food all on him. Man, I turned around, bro. I run and I'm hitting this glass, trying to get the guard. Like, hey, get me out of here. You know?
Oh man. You were expecting to knock him out,
yeah,
cold.
or hurting him to the point, you know, or something.
Right, get some respect, but
I hit him and nothing.
Bro.
And he was coming at me, and the guard came, opened the door, and he's like, "What happened?" I go, he got me outside, and now the glass is behind me, and I'm looking at the guard, and I'm telling the guard, "Don't put me back in there, man. This guy's gonna kill me." He's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Oh man," and I try to explain to him. And then he goes, well, hold on. And he goes into the guard thing, but he leaves me outside the cell. And in the glass, that black dude is right there staring at me.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, no, don't get me in there. And then the guard goes, hey, I can't put you anywhere. I have to put you back.
Oh, hell no.
And then the gay tank or the people that were gay were across the other side.
Oh, so you can see the other side.
Yeah, and they were over here. We can put him here. And I'm like, no,
bro.
I was like, dude, no. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, they're gonna have your back. All right.
Exactly. They're gonna have more than my back.
They're gonna have your back.
So I was like, man.
Oh man, that's funny.
I was like, dude. So as soon as he came out and he's like, I'm gonna have to put you back in there. All I can do is just, you know, I was like, I don't want to hear that. That's not what I want to hear. And then a buzzing came. They opened the main door. And then some guy goes, I'm looking for a Barbados, Barboza. I go, Barboza. He goes, yeah. I go, that's me. He goes, oh, man, he's in the wrong place. He's supposed to go somewhere else. And then I was like, oh, my God.
Man, you got saved by the bell.
I know. But again, that's why I said, I don't know if they did that on purpose to scare me straight.
They probably did, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
They're probably somebody like, you know what?
But it got worse.
It's a youngling. Put him in there.
I know. Well, it got worse because, you know, I didn't know what a gladiator tank was. I didn't know what that meant. So he goes, yeah, he's supposed to go with the gladiator tank. And I'm like, oh no, man. I was so scared, dude.
And that was your first time?
That was my first time.
In like main population?
Yeah.
I mean, what a crazy experience.
Yeah.
Do you ever find out that guy again, that black dude?
No. I don't see him. I don't even know. No, man. That's crazy.
He probably seen this shit.
If he's seen this shit, he's going to be laughing, though.
I know he will be. He probably still in jail, though.
Yeah, he probably is. I don't even know what I didn't stay long enough to even talk to anybody there.
Good.
But
I'm glad that dude came in looking for you, though.
I know.
Because they would put you either back in with Debo, or with the gays in the other one.
Then this would be a different story.
Oh.
You never know, bro.
Man.
Yeah, but yeah, that's crazy, dude. And but yeah, going back to so you know, my experience going back and forth into that jail, whatever, got me into I wanted to find work after jail, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, I wanted to do what I knew how to do, work on cars. And so after I got out of jail, I was like trying to find a job with anything to do with cars. But because of my record, no one would hire me. So then I was like, what do I do? So like what everybody does, they go to church, they find God, you know, and that's what I did. I found God, and, you know, he saved me. And I met a good Christian brother named Luciano, and he worked as a pipe fitter, and he got me a job where he was at, and I was working. That's where I learned how to weld and become a welder. And then fast forward, you know, so when I tell people when I became a welder, it really saved my life, because I didn't know what to do. You know, I was thinking I needed money, because when you get out of jail, you don't just get out. You still have to pay certain things like, you know, court fees, or you have to, you know, it's you have to keep a job. You can't just not have a job, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was what was tough, challenging for me. And I think back, and I tell my wife this, but I think back that how many people, when they get out of jail, they go back to doing the same thing uh, because they need to hold a job, but nobody wants to hire them because, they're criminals and they have convictions, But so then when I became a welder, I found out, at that time, this is what now, 2007, 2008, and I was making like $9 an hour, and I thought I was making like good money. And then I found out, hey, if you learn how to weld pipe, you can make $30 an hour. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. So I went and tried to do that. I busted a bunch of weld tests because to be a welder, it doesn't matter if you go to school. That's why when I hear people going to school, like the moment you try to get a job, they'll make you take a test, a weld test.
Okay.
And if you pass the test, you get the job. If you fail the test, you don't get the job. So, and they don't care if you, I went to Tulsa Welding School or so whatever. They don't care. They don't care. As long as you can pass that test. That's it. And so I started doing that. Then I hear from the pipe welders, man, if you get your own rig and you get your welding machine and you work in the pipeline, you can make $4,000 a week. I was like, what? Hold on, what? So I said, man. So I started working on buying my tools and doing all that. And I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. And, and again, I'm trying to condense it, but my wife, we were struggling. I met my wife and, we had kids and at the same time trying to pay bills, and I'm trying to do this to make $4,000 a week,
Right.
And so when I finally did have the truck and I had myself in debt getting it, I said, you know what? Well, I'm going to go. I finally got it's called the weld test, right? And the thing about the pipeline is that if wherever the job is, that's where you have to go. So if the job is in Oklahoma, or the job is in let's just say Kansas, wherever,
You got to travel.
you got to travel there on your own dime, take the weld test. If you pass it, you got the job.
Wow.
And then you get paid for that day. But if you fail, you got to drive back with no money, whatever you spent, whatever. So I went and did that. And I failed 3 times. So those 3 times that I went, I was losing money.
Well, what was your thought process on that? Like, man, I failed 3 times. What went through your mind?
Well, I was thinking, man, maybe I'm not, maybe this isn't for me, like maybe I'm not that good as I thought I was. And then what was hurting more was that my wife was saying that too. She was saying, maybe, because after the second time that I failed the test, I used up my money and they disconnected our lights. So my wife, my nana, my girls had to take a shower in cold water that week, So
They were pissed.
Yeah, they were pissed. Yeah. So yeah, I felt really bad. I felt really like, man. And when she said maybe it's not for everyone, and that's what I was thinking when she said that. Man, it hurt, dude. And then the 4th time came around. Hey, there's another test. This time is in Louisiana, and it's gonna take 3 days to take this weld test because it's that much. We call it a butt and a branch, which is like a 12-inch pipe. You put it together, and you have to weld it all the way out. Then after it's welded, the inspector looks inside, looks outside. If it looks good, okay, that's good. Now we got to cut it in pieces, and those pieces you cut, they bend it. If it cracks, you failed. If it breaks, you failed. So, okay, once you pass that, then you got to do what's called a branch, which is a 12-inch pipe, and you make it like a T, right? And you have to do all that, and they do the same thing. You weld it, they inspect it. And so I had to take 4 of those. So when I told my wife, I was like, I got another opportunity to take a test. And my wife goes, if you leave, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go with my mom in California because she's also from California, and I met her over here. But she goes, I'm going to leave with the girls because I can't live like this. They're going to disconnect our lights and this and that. And, I thought to myself, I was like, man, This was on a Friday, and I had to leave Sunday morning to be ready to take the test Monday. So that Saturday night, man, I didn't sleep good because I was thinking to myself, like, man, what do I do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, you know what? I can always replace my wife, but this money is gonna help my kids, you know?
Oh man.
So I left, dude.
I'm gonna edit this. Your wife cannot say this.
Oh no, she tells this story all the time because she always says, and he left, you know? Yeah, I took off. I was like, you know what? I'm going. I took off and I passed that test.
Chingon.
Yep. And
That's
then,
good, man.
And then that life changed. She didn't leave, you know. But then you know I did that. This was 2010 now. No, 2011. And 2011 all the way to 2019, I've been making that good money.
Damn.
And you know, our lives change. Fast forward this now, and this is where I got into politics. Coming, you know, to reference into this. So the way the pipeline works, it falls under what's called the energy sector.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy sector is regulated by the federal government, meaning whoever's the chief, the commander in chief, in the executive branch, aka the president, he can determine whether to give permits to work on right-of-ways. That's what right-of-ways are what we call where the pipeline goes. So, sorry about that. Hold on.
Oh, you're good.
So wherever those pipelines goes, that's what's called right-of-ways. And those grounds, it's either belongs to it's a private, you know, like let's say you own some land and they want to put a pipeline through your land, then they will pay you, right? But if it goes to a state property, then it belongs to the state. But a lot of the pipelines are on federal grounds. So that's why the federal government is able to regulate. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So if a president says drill baby drill, like what Trump says, then it creates work because the pipelines are used for all kinds of material, but the most that they use it for is crude oil. So like when they have a drilling rig and they drill and they find oil in a well, we found money, but what do we do with it? Because crude oil has to be refined. You know, they have to cook it to make gas, to make acrylic, to make, you know, plastics,
rubber,
synthetic rubbers, you know, a bunch of chemicals, benzene. They even get the stuff used for gum, bubble gum, you know, like your gum. You know, Goodyear does that stuff. So don't swallow the gum because it's oil, petroleum. But anyway, so if you look at our infrastructure in our country, all the refineries and the plants that does that are in the ports of the ocean. So like the Port of Houston, Port Lavaca, and Florida and New Jersey. So all the edge of there, that's where all the refineries are at. But our wells are in West Texas. So that's why, what does that tell you? That tells you that they're set up to buy oil overseas because they'll just bring it from ships and then they'll dump it into the ports. So they never had planned to put refineries like in West Texas where the oil wells are. So how do we get the oil from West Texas to the plants? We do it through pipelines. That's why the Keystone pipeline is going from Canada to all the way to I want to say Mexico, you know, Pemex and stuff.
Damn.
But so those pipelines that's what makes gas cheaper. That's why under Trump, I don't know if you remember, the barrel of oil was so expensive, but our gas pumps were cheap because we were getting oil from our own
resources.
Yeah,
deposits, yeah.
Yep. And so the thing is, we were running pipelines from West Texas to there. So I got into politics, and going back to my whole point, and because that was starting to affect my dollars, my money. You know, when Obama was president, there was work, but it was like very very like certain people would get a job. Like if I try to bring you along, the only way you could get in is because you know somebody or you know the boss or you know this. And
So it was very limited.
yeah, very limited. Yep, that's it. And when Trump won, there was so much work. I could quit this job now and have a job tomorrow. I have options. And I made so much money under Trump. And the same thing, because, this is what, okay, so, and let me just share this. So in 2015, under Obama, they found an oil well in West Texas that would produce enough oil for 15 generations at that, at the time. So we would never run out of oil. The problem is, how do we get that oil to the refineries? And so under Trump, we finally started building those pipelines. And we didn't finish the connection. So under Biden, when Biden won now, right, the first thing he did in office, the very first thing, and I don't know if you remember this, but he says, I will not sign new permits for new construction on right-of-ways. Me and 200 people lost our jobs.
And so many others too.
Yeah. But this is just a pipeline, and this is just pipeline welders. That's not talking about the operators. That's not talking about the electricians. That's not talking about
the pipe makers.
Yeah, the
all
coders.
The steels, all the stuff is affected because it's a whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And then this is what draws up the price. This is why people don't understand when Trump says drill baby drill, he's gonna drop prices because, I guess, again, all this plastic here is all oil. Like the nylon, how it has Caterpillar and stuff. Well, they make synthetic ones made out of oil. So your water bottles, I don't know if you've noticed, but under Biden, they seem more weak, more flimsier. But that's because he made a regulatory law that the plastic companies had to use less product to cheapen the price, because if not, the inflation would have been more expensive.
Off the roof.
Yeah. So a lot of the policies that the Democrats do, I don't agree with them. And somebody like Trump, he see, there's one thing. The thing that I like about Trump is that what you're getting. It's not like a politician where, they're nice to you, but you don't know what their intentions are. I know what Trump's intentions are. Trump wants to make Trump amazing. You know what I mean? That's it. So with him doing that, hey, I'm going to do an amazing job because I want to be amazing. So yeah, I back that up 100%.
Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of people don't think that way, but by producing our stuff domestically, it kind of like it's shipping the price and the burden of we pay more for stuff that come in, like getting imported. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And I'm pretty pro like consuming our products. You know what I mean? If we can do it, why not? We can sell it to our own and save some money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Keep the money in house. So before we get more into politics, what was your California is very, very blue.
Oh yeah.
What was your reaction within your family structure? You being vocal about I'm gonna support Trump, and California.
Yeah.
California is deeply blue. So what was? Did you have any friction within your family because of that?
Oh yeah. Yes, I have 2 cousins, like I said, on my mom's side that are in California, in Santa Ana. And I'm sure they don't like me, because all my posts on Facebook,
Oh, I've seen a few though. I've seen a few of your posts.
Yeah, I'm pretty. But see, that's the thing though. Okay, and I hope they hear this, but they think that we're brainwashed. and when I say they, a lot of the people that had that mentality that, oh, you're following Trump, you're brainwashed, and to be honest with you, no. See, the thing is, um, if Trump did something really bad, I would call it out. I'd call it out. Like if he was as bad as Biden, you know, I know a lot of people that they follow Biden, they agree Biden, and when Biden does something wrong, right? Like call black people roaches or something, you know, like what he did about the legs in the pool a long time
Oh
ago. You know?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they won't say that's bad. They just ignore it. And versus like uh most of us Trump supporters, we would like call it out, like, hey, Trump did bad, you know, and this and that. And but here's the thing that I've learned. So um and and I try to educate myself in a vast criteria of subjects. And I may not have a degree, I may not be academic, but I consider myself very an educated person. But the moment you think, and as a person, I'm talking about as a person, the moment one believes that I will never be brainwashed, like I won't be brainwashed, that's when you can get brainwashed. Because the fact that you don't consider we're all subject to brainwash. So this is why we have this open dialogue communication, because one, you're going to challenge my views or I'll challenge your views, and then from there, guess what happens? If my views are weak and fragile, I'm going to start questioning my own belief. Then I'm going to go research. But if I'm strong in my beliefs, then all it's doing is reaffirming my belief, you know? And so, yeah, they think that I'm brainwashed, that I'm just, you know, I guess in Mexico, in Spanish, we have a saying that you're a coco, you know, you're brown on the outside, why didn't thinking you're white, you know?
Yeah.
But they probably think that, and that's fine, you know. I'm for everyone's got their opinions, you know. I'm for free speech, and but yeah, no, I challenge them to do more research, think outside of the box. If you watch CNN, watch Fox News. If you watch Fox News, watch CNN. You know, but you know, don't just rely on one thing, because that's how you can get brainwashed. And um, I'm telling you, I'm finding out a bunch of stuff, like, you know, that a lot of the stuff that the left is doing is the same thing that the original Democrats were doing with Jim Crow. You know, they just changed the strategy. But going back to what you were saying, yeah, my family, I got two, you know, a few families that in California, and my wife's family, they're like, oh, here comes Robert, you know, because he's that Republican, you know, he's a greedy guy and this and that. And you know, to be honest with you, I think as a Republican or a conservative, and me having a troubled past and having redemption through Jesus, and also having, you know, lived a life where I've changed my ways and now I'm a working person, I will say that I do align myself with conservatism, because we have that belief that whatever situation you're found in, like whatever your position is, it's not his fault, her fault, your mom's fault, oh, this fault, it's your fault. So whatever it is, whether it's good or bad, like whatever I dictate what my outcome is. So if I'm broke right now, I need to do something about it. We live in this amazing country that if you want to be a millionaire, you can do it if you want it. You know, if you don't want it, then you're just gonna, you think you want it, you desire it, but you're not doing anything about it. Here in America, we have this opportunity. I mean, look at your podcast right now, right? You're this is what you're striving for, and you're gonna achieve it. You're gonna, before you know it, everyone's gonna be like the Xray Podcast, because you're doing the work, you're doing something about it, and that's a conservative point of view. You know, that, you know, our merits, our destiny is on our hands, not versus the Democrats. They like to believe, well, oh man, I could have used that excuse too. Like, oh, I went to jail because I had it hard. You know, both my mom and dad worked, and I was stayed alone, which is facts. When I was 5 all the way to 11, I was home alone. I had to fend for myself. I had no direction. Everyone has sad stories. Everyone has trauma. And we just got to get back to that. They say pull up your boots from the bootstraps or something like that, right? And that's it, man. I mean, that's why I lean so much as a Republican and with Trump.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to, like you were saying, a lot of people trying to blame their circumstances, but not themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And they just complain about everything, and I can stand complaining. People that complains a lot, I can't stand it.
Me neither.
I try to stay away from that because if I got something wrong, I fix it. You know what I mean? If I want to make something better of myself, I will find a way to do it.
Correct.
If I not succeed, at least I tried.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I keep doing different stuff. And you're right. We live in a great country, and a lot of people don't recognize that. You know what I mean? Me, I was deployed to Iraq, and that was the first time I see.
Oh wow! Well, thank you for your service, man.
Yeah, man, your work. And when I saw like a different country with a different culture, a different background, and I saw what war can do, what men can do to another man, and I see dictatorship and poverty, and when I came back to the States, I was like, man, we have it good. I mean, we are good.
And see, that's why I kind of think that, and I have a stepdaughter. She's 23, and I always tell her, and I raised her when she was young, and I would tell her, like, and I tell my other 2 daughters well too, that travel. I mean, I got to see the poverty in Mexico through my family, and when you go travel into these other countries, and I don't mean to talk back to, I'm sure the EU and all that, they're probably got better, but it is not the same.
No,
it's not.
United States is just, it's so, I would say it's beautiful in a sense because everybody, come here and make something out of themselves. But at one time in 2016, it's just the hatred of, we get pinned, let me pin the whites against blacks. Let me pin the rich against the poor. Let me pin the gay against the straight. And all this stuff, all this polarization came in. And not because Trump was the I guess the vehicle.
Yeah.
The guy that pulled the curtain so we can see what is behind.
Oh, what's under here?
Yeah, to see the machine. He opened the hood to see the
exactly.
the engine, and we came so polarized, and now the Democrats are like screaming out of their lungs every time Donald Trump came on TV. They're just screaming and complaining, and a lot of people get carried out by their feelings. That's what Democrats use. People's feeling, and we, as conservatives, most of the conservatives, when we engage in a conversation with a Democrat or independent, we don't yell. We just, we exchange ideas.
Exactly.
If we not agree, hey, at least we're gonna agree to disagree.
Exactly.
And we move on. But the left tend to scream and abuse and
or
hate.
Try to silence you.
Yeah, and they
quit talking.
And they propagate, oh, we love each other, love to each other. But they are the ones that screaming to people, and they are the ones to yell at people and hate other people. So I'm not getting it. I'm not getting their message. I guess they just.
And I can't believe how fast it turned. Right? I mean, we both.
That's what
grew,
I'm saying.
Yeah, we both grew in an area where in the 90s, we'd play with black kids, white kids, Asian kids.
We chill.
Yeah, we didn't see color. We didn't, and we all had fun. And somehow, like you said, 2015, 2016, it's almost like it's built by design to divide us, And I tell people that don't like Trump, hate the guy, like the guy. He woke up the beast, meaning the American people, because before then, no one cared about politics. No one cared.
No one.
No one.
No one. It was so. It was so like it was so like chill.
Yeah.
I mean, we still chill. I mean, I don't care. But it was so normal to not care. But now he came in and people just like, oh no, I hate the whites or I hate the black
And
or I
see-
hate the Asians. And we're
see
like,
the people in the exactly.
I'm like-
and see the people in the deep state. That's why they hate Trump so bad, because what he did, he woke up everyone. So now you have people paying attention. Like you said, Trump is like, what's over here? Oh, look at this, and now everybody's paying attention. And now it's out of control because they can't seem to control. They're trying to, but they can't control the situation because it's we're paying attention now and we see what's going on, and this is what I meant, what I said. I'm finding out that the Democrats are the same Democrats from the past because they'll hide, and I guess that's not fair because there's some what we call rhinos, Republican only by name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
warmongers.
yeah, they pass laws and they'll call it something like women's rights, and then it's like 1,500 pages, and in those clauses there you'll see someone that's getting paid. Oh, we're doing a road, but what does that got to do with women's right, or infrastructure for Chicago, and what's that got to do with women's right? And we're finding that out with Doge. They're just like,
man, we're finding crazy stuff with Doge, like the $50 million for condoms and gas. I'm like, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a parody of like. Or some people, they make parodies online on Twitter, and that's like somebody's making a joke, but it was true.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and see, when I heard that, I'm now just fast forwarding, but I'm an estimator now, so I don't weld no more. So I work in the office now, but so when I'm doing my work, I have my AirPod in my ear, and I was getting something from the printer, and I remember. First, they said, "Oh, we found $25 million condoms for Gaza," and at first I was like, "Wait, nah, I didn't hear that right." And then I rewinded it, and then it was that. I was like, "What the heck?" I had to tell my coworker, like, "Did you hear that?" And they didn't believe me either. And then they found out that, oh no, they found it. It was 50 million.
mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Oh my gosh." What kind of condoms are they? You know what I mean? Like, dang,
I know. And that's like one part of the whole, like it's like one little piece for the whole puzzle, because you have the women's right movement, you got Planned Parenthood behind that, and when you start looking deep into it, like who's sitting on the boards of executive, who's sitting
exactly,
who's giving them money, who's lobbying for them, it's ex-politician.
Oh my gosh,
making tons of money.
Somebody's getting a kickback and a lot
big
of it.
time.
Yeah, dude.
Big time. You seen all these now NGOs with this mass migration. I don't know if you know, but it's from 2020 to 2024, 7,000 new NGOs were created.
What? I didn't know that.
And all the money from the U.S. aid went through those NGOs, and they just got rich. 7,000 were created. Look it up.
That is crazy.
I looked it up the other day, and I was like, nah, this can't be true.
Well, okay. So I feel hope, right? And
now I do.
Yeah, I feel hope. But man, I don't know if you've seen the podcast with and Joe Rogan with Elon Musk recently.
Oh yeah, I was gearing towards that. That was crazy.
Oh my gosh. And poor Elon, because he said he doesn't even want to pursue so much of the corruption because when you look at him, he looks like he found something and he
want to say it,
but he's scared.
He's scared.
Yeah. He even said it. He said, I don't want to die, And he told Joe Rogan, like, that's why I'm trying not to push so much on the corruption. And then Joe Rogan asked him, well, yeah, all these, what did he say? Don't quote me on this, but he said something like, all these stocks, the information of getting stocks. And then Elon was like, no, 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 no. It's kickbacks. And then he's like, whoa. He goes, yeah, but I don't want to push the corruption because I don't want to die. You're gonna, I was thinking in the plane before doing this podcast, should I talk about it or not? Because I got to go back to Washington. And it's crazy because what does that tell you? Like, man, if this man is scared, and at first, he was like, I'm gonna expose everything, and now he's just like freaked out.
Yeah, he's freaked out because he just. I saw it too, and I was like, if Social Security,
oh, that's another one.
Dodge, they found out it was basically minuscule. From what he find out now, like what he found out, and he don't want to say it, make the Social Security and USDA small compared. Because remember, the Pentagon failed 7 audits.
Oh yeah, and then remember the Pentagon in what was it in 2013, 14, where they lost $7 billion, or was it trillions? Yeah, and they were like, we don't know where it went. We don't know.
It's like it's like $2-4 trillion.
Oh,
like,
man, I was just
nobody know where is that. Like, that's a lot of fucking money.
A lot of money. That's money. That's our money. You know what I mean? That's our.
I figure he find out where that money went.
I think so too.
And he don't want to say it.
I don't.
I mean, he probably told Trump about it.
Yeah.
He probably get the report to Trump. But I don't think we're ever gonna see those documents.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
My opinion, we will see like IRS.
When we're retired, we're probably gonna hear it.
Yeah, we gonna see the IRS money. We're gonna see ATF, all that crazy stuff. Like small departments, but the kickbacks. There's conspiracy that people know there is kickbacks, but cannot point the finger to. Now he does. But he don't want to say nothing. We're never gonna see that.
No, but and this is where I critique my Democrat friends. Okay, we may not know the full corruption, but we're not dumb. Mm-hmm. For example, Biden's son Hunter, and I'm not even talking about his laptop. I'm just gonna say this: he was a painter. Okay, and I don't know if you remember this, but
oh yeah,
yeah. So. He's painting, and we can't see who bought these paintings and for how much. But we do know that in the beginning, he sold a painting for $2-3 million. Mm-hmm. Okay, so one can think, okay, this is what's going on. He's sending money to Ukraine. Ukraine is flushing it, or slushing it to something. Which I don't want to get too ahead of this, but to a Bitcoin company. And I don't know if you remember this. And then that Bitcoin company found out that, every bit of the first wave that we gave to Zelensky, he put it in there and it disappeared. And then that's when that CEO guy was in hiding, because then they investigated and found out that, the American people want their money back, and he don't have the American people's money no more. Remember,
they flush it. Yeah, they flushed that money.
Okay, so people forget about that. And then 2, that's the money that's probably buying the paintings for Hunter Biden, I mean, that's how they money laundering,
Yeah, it's a kickback.
Yeah, it's like,
I make that paint, you send me a couple $1 million because
send it to the big guy.
Because we got you that contract. We got you that money wired to you. And that's why they keep wiring, like, so far we wired like over $300 billion to Ukraine so far. That's not counting material. That's not counting all the ammo that we send,
the javelins that Trump sent,
artillery pieces that we sent. That's not counting all that. And people say, we have to keep funding Ukraine. No, we're not. No, we need to stop that, because if not, it will escalate.
Correct.
It will escalate. It will get Ukraine gonna get weaker. They're gonna get desperate. They're gonna ask for more money, and then we have to what do you need now? I don't have bodies.
But see, okay.
Then you will see, we're going to send the 82nd Division over there.
I know.
And then we send 10,000 people. Then we're going to send 20.
Now we're another Pakistan, Iraq war again.
For another 20 years.
Yeah. And that's what the deep state wants.
Yeah.
It's flushing, just money laundering. But see, here's the thing. Excuse me. But so when I saw the Trump and Zelensky that happened recently when they couldn't make a deal?
There was a whole debacle there.
Yeah, I know.
But I like how Trump stood on business.
Oh, me too. Me too. But see, my wife, she's more of the she feels sorry for the guy. She's just like, oh man, maybe,
empathic. Yeah.
And she had lots of empathy. But and so she was convincing I was thinking, I was like, you know what? But then I think back and I'm like, no, because okay, so remember this: 2019, Trump was still president. Russia wanted to run what's called the Nord Stream pipeline.
Yeah.
That goes from Germany, the Baltic Sea, inside, Baltic Sea, and it goes to Russia. So Trump, Russia was asking the UN. The UN basically does whatever America votes for, and Trump said, no, I'm not voting for that. That's a bad idea for Trump. I mean, so for Russia to have their Nord Stream pipeline, that's a terrible idea. No, I vote no for it. So we voted no for it. Biden gets in there, and he votes yes for it. So then guess what? Russia builds their pipeline. And I don't know if you remember this.
Mm-hmm.
That pipeline blows up, and there's oil in the water in the Baltic Sea. I don't know if I can't believe people forget about that, right?
Yep.
Because then they investigated and found out that it was Ukraine that bombed it. Okay. Now, Russia has their own spies. So Russia found out. That's when Zelensky was asking NATO, hey, y'all need to, get my back, whatever. And then
he was asking to join
NATO.
And
then Biden comes back and said, yes, let's have conversation. So what is Russia gonna do? You bomb my pipeline, and you're now
trying to get Ukraine
getting into NATO. Yeah, so
no.
He forced Putin to get in there, right?
Yeah, he forced Putin's hands.
Yeah, because it's like you're threatening him. You bombed his pipeline.
Yeah, it makes sense. We will do the same way if Russia partnered up with Mexico.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We would put missiles in Mexico. We would go to war.
And then bombed our pipeline. You know what I mean?
Oh.
On top of that, we would go to war.
Oh yeah.
And so, guess what happened though? And that's not it. After that, then, I want to say it was 2022 or 2023. He got on stage. Zelensky did. And said the American people's children needs to join the war and they will die. He said that, and I have a clip. I put it on my Facebook. But and then a rocket. And again, if I hope you remember this, but a rocket killed a Poland farmer. In Poland, and Poland is part of NATO. So if Russia did bomb Poland, we are obligated to join the war. So Zelensky said, "Oh, that was Putin's bombs." Well, the UN went to go investigate and found out that the Javelin was the one that Trump gave to him. So that means it was Ukraine. And then he came out on the news and said it was an accident. We found out that but that's just another red flag. He's been wanting us to go into this fight. Okay, if that doesn't convince you, I mean, there's just too many coincidences. And then now this that happened, he's basically all entitled. You need to give me the troops. You need to protect me. And then he threatened Trump in front of the Oval Office, saying like, "Yeah, you got a good seat, but soon you won't," or something like that.
Right.
That's when he told me, "You can't tell me how to feel." And man, I just think. I'm so glad they aired that because I'm sure I'm not the only one that remembers all this. And,
thank you.
Yeah, and so I'm sure I'm not the only one that remembers this. So when JD Vance was like, "We shouldn't do this here," and Trump was like, "No.
Oh yeah.
Let this," because I'm sure I'm not the only one that remembers this.
Oh yeah. My wife brought that for you.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we treat people well around here.
Oh man, this is the benefits of America right here.
I know, right? We got cheese, crackers. But in the same token, like Zelensky, I know because I've been following this for a couple of years. Zelensky is begging for U.S. to put boots on the ground. He's begging for it because he knows once we put boots on the ground, we have to get our machine going.
Yep.
We have to get a aircraft carrier. near to near to the Black Sea, whatever. And then we're gonna have support. We're gonna have all that BS. That's what he wants. He wants to sit back and let US fight the fight.
Exactly.
And Trump will not go for that. I don't want to go to war.
Yeah.
I'm already did that on that, and I don't want to go.
And I don't want to have our kids going to war.
Me neither. So I don't want to go to a 20-year war with Russia. It will probably go longer. If you catch
Yeah.
my drift, because remember Afghanistan, there were people with
In caves.
in cave with in sandals, and we spent 20 years fighting them. Just imagine Russia. It would be bloodier, longer, and it put us like at least $20 trillion more in debt in 5 years.
And then the thing
And
is,
fuck that.
yeah, and then too, we shouldn't try to go to war with Russia.
We not. He don't want to go to war.
Yeah.
Neither.
And but that's what I'm that's the what's the alternative? Because the people that don't agree with Trump and how he negotiated, it's like, what's the alternative? Keep giving money to Zelensky when we don't have money? I mean, for crying out loud, they said we didn't have money for Social Security and Social Security was gonna end and all that. And we're finding out we were given money, and then we do have money right now. But the alternative is what? To give them money until something changes? I mean,
It didn't change in the last 2 years.
what happened to all the people that think of the oppression, think of it? I mean, this is people dying, Like, I don't know. Have you seen that the government of Ukraine forcing men to go
Yeah.
to war,
I
pulling
see-
them out of their car?
On the streets. I
On the
seen
street,
I seen him
yeah.
on Twitters. I was talking to my son today, and I was telling him that they had a video of a kid with Down syndrome in the front lines.
Oh no. See that? What does that tell you?
Yeah.
Like,
If you don't believe me, I would post it in there, and I saw it yesterday, and I was like, "What? With Down syndrome
yeah, that's
on the front lines?" So they conscript people like out of the street. I've
Yeah.
seen it.
no.
They
I've seen
don't.
it
They
too.
don't have people. They. I think it's like from 16 all the way to 60 years old. They don't have
Yeah.
people. They will run out of people by the end of the year if they
Yeah,
keep
and that's
fighting.
why Putin's like, go ahead. It's just like, let's see how many. I got enough bodies to send. And honestly, that guy Zelensky needs to step down
He needs to.
because
He needs to go. He needs to go. In Europe, they were saying the British. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna back up Ukraine."
oh yeah, I know I've seen that. But then in closed doors, they tell him, hey, we can't do it.
Yeah, but he told like, "We're gonna back up Ukraine, but we have to do it with the backing of the U.S."
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, that was the.
That's look. So and
So
then-
we're gonna be involved anyway.
Yeah, but that's like, okay, that's like a bully, like in school. Remember
Yeah.
that? So I can imagine the bully is Russia, and the kid that's getting bullied is Ukraine, right? And then Russia thinks, hey, that toy you have belongs to me because my older brother invested so much in that. So he takes the toy breaks, right? The land, and the EU is the ones egging that kid. No, keep fighting. Here, we're gonna help you by telling you to keep fighting. No one's stepping in, and here comes America. Like, hey, stop, breaking the
Right.
fight. And then this kid now wants America to beat up the bully for him, like a hero or something. But we don't want to do that because we look at the bully, and he's like, man, he's as big as we are, and out of fear of getting beat up, and he has a fear of getting also beat up. That's why he's stopping the fight. And then we're telling him, hey, Zelensky, the kid, here's your toy, and he's gonna keep the broken part now. And then he's like, no, and the EU's all saying, no, that's unacceptable. But America's like, well, you don't have the cards. What I mean? Honestly, what's the alternative?
You were losing the fight anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, oh man, I don't know why people don't see it that way. It's like, so you want us to beat up the bully, and this is real life. I mean, Vietnam kicked our butts, and so did, like you said, people in caves and sandals. Look how long that took.
Yeah. It took forever. 20 years. We started in 2001.
Yeah.
and we're finishing like in 2023, 2022 when we exit Afghanistan.
Exactly, yeah.
And
Which that was a bust.
to be honest, we've been same shit happened in Vietnam,
Yeah.
Saigon. When they failed, like we had to run our asses out of there because the Vietnam came and just took over in 2 days. Same happened in Afghanistan.
Yeah, same thing.
You know, so people don't learn. We not honestly we have not winning a war in since Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly. And you know the thing is,
We we kill a lot of people, we destroy shit, we topple regimes, but at the end
we still we don't accomplish anything.
we don't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
You know, the military complex gets bigger, pharma gets bigger, everything gets wealthier, but the American people keep suffering and paying for everything.
We just keep,
And we foot in the bill, pretty much.
yeah, that's it.
And
But,
people
and now because of Doge, we're seeing that I
Oh,
mean, we
yeah.
kind of knew this was happening, right? But we had no evidence. Now we have evidence.
and people now complain because you ain't supposed to be seeing that.
Exactly.
I'm like, what the heck? Why you complaining when we're trying to save money?
I know. And you know, and then here's the thing too, like Alexandria Cortez, the congresswoman from New York.
Mm-hmm.
She's been there since 2017, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. I think he got elected with the same time Trump got elected.
And there's a
16
rumor
something.
that she might have $33 million or $17 million dollars, and we don't know. But even if it's 17, let's say the lower amount, how does she achieve that? If she's making only 170,000 a year,
The math doesn't add
it
up.
doesn't, bro. And I'm just like, and they're the ones complaining about Doge.
Same Elizabeth Warren,
Oh my gosh,
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. He never had a job ever. Like, you know how you could at least say, oh, Ted Cruz, he had a job, you know, at McDonald's at one point or something like that, right?
Or a lawyer or a firm or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
But Bernie Sanders has never worked, and he's a millionaire.
Oh yeah, I remember when they confront him and ask him like, "What about your 3 houses that you have?" Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, well, I don't know nothing about that." And then on the last, I think he was talking to one on the nominations.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What about the kickbacks that you had? The $1.5 million whatever."
Yeah,
And,
no. Oh, yeah, I remember.
and he got pissed about it.
Yeah,
And
he
so, like,
got all red, and he was stumbling with his words. He was
Yeah.
talking to,
I don't remember.
he was interviewing somebody,
Was
yeah.
Catch Potato?
No, Robert F. Kennedy.
Oh yeah, that was a heated.
Yeah.
that was a good heated conversation.
Yeah,
And he put him on his place. Like, man, you were
Yeah.
getting kickbacks.
big time. Hey, and if that doesn't tell you that Trump is working with uniting us,
Mm-hmm.
he got two cabinet members that are Democrats, Tulsi Gabbard and
Mm-hmm.
RFK. You know, they exactly. You know,
Man,
it's
but
like-
you know the left. Once you leave the left, they're gonna go after you, man. Once you turn the back on them, you are like John Wick. You like excommunicated. You know?
excommunicado.
Yeah, you're no longer part of the clique. So they would go with everything after you, man. That's how they operate. You know what I mean? It's not like the right. The right, they call you out, whatever. But at the end of the day, you do you.
Yeah, you do. And see, this is why we were losing that cultural war back in the after Reagan, because we would say, and I'm not against gay marriage, but I'm using that as an example. But they would say back then, "Oh man, we need to do something because the Democrats are gonna make the people gay get marriage." And then, you know, the conservatives were like, let them have their own ideas. Because we have the belief that let them speak their dumb ideas. Because they'll, you know, it's like building a house out of glass, you know. Go ahead. You know, build your house out of glass. The first rock will break it, you know. So they were like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And, you know, what the Democrats were doing, were getting the culture of the MTV, Hollywood.
College.
College. So indoctrination, and we almost lost the country if it wasn't for Trump, really, honestly. And again, hate or love the guy, but he woke up this beast in everybody that, you know, it made people from the left hate him more and pay attention more than what they did, and made the right, you know, it woke them up. And then guess what? now you got some people on the left that joined with Trump because some of the stuff was true. Well,
All
most
along.
of it, all of it, yeah.
No, all
All
the
of
shit.
it.
It's like conspiracy theory. It's just their conspiracy
They're
theory.
factual.
They're factual in less than 30 days.
I bet Alex Jones feels vindicated.
Oh, it's so many. I would say Alex Jones have like 90% of all the
yeah.
craziness that he talked over the years.
Dude, I used to think he was so crazy when he said they're making the frogs gay,
He was right.
Yeah, and they were, they said they were putting the water in the Michigan water. That's so crazy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, when people talk conspiracy theory, Alex Jones was the pioneer.
Yeah.
Remember when he was with the camcorder recording Skull and Bones?
Yep.
And he went to the place
And he jumped the fence.
and everything was burning. It's
Yeah.
like, these are Satanists.
Yeah, and
They worship Satan, and people don't believe in people. Man, you're crazy.
But he was right.
15 years later,
He was right.
he was right.
He was right. He was right about the pig harvest thing. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah. About the pandemic, they were making
2006, Bill Gates got a patent for COVID, SARS,
and
19.
he was talking about that like 2010.
I know.
I was saying like when YouTube started like
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he was on YouTube, so like
I'm not gonna lie. I used to follow him in YouTube when it was first coming. With
me too.
But man, it's just so crazy though. He's right.
Because he was right. He was right.
Yeah. And when he interviewed with Joe Rogan, kind of told him, "Hey man, it's because maybe your delivery, the way you're saying things, maybe if you tone it down." And then he goes, "No man, if you knew and everybody thought you were crazy, you would be like this too. Like wake up, turn around, pay attention." So it makes sense why he acts like that.
Yeah, a lot of people came forward. Like he was the one that came forward. I believe another person that he died a couple years ago, Russo.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the first name, but his last name is Russo. He came up with the deep state, how the deep state were operating, and the pharma and all the stuff. He was really deep too.
Dude, the pharma stuff though, man.
And he was talking about taxes and how how taxation works, and he was deep, and he got deleted. In my opinion,
I know.
he got deleted because he was. I mean,
Well, it's just like Jeffrey Epstein.
He was going deep
He
into
got
it.
deleted,
Yeah, he got deleted. A
didn't
lot of
kill
people
himself.
did. A lot of people like the Clintons.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Clintons haven't deleted a lot of people though. I think that now the Obama are the one that doing it.
Man,
Like the guy that
Yeah.
his chef is just.
dude, it's crazy. It's and then the thing is though, man, when you talk about big pharma and you find out like, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I believe that at one point they were doing vaccines for the right reasons, but now I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
Because you got Bill Gates, who is not a scientist, who's not a doctor.
Involved.
I mean, he's what is he doing there? He's not even
He making fake meat too though.
yeah. Then you got Klaus Schwab from the WHO saying that he's gonna make us eat bugs, and he's in part of that.
And you will own and be happy. You will own anything and you be happy. Like what the heck?
Yeah, exactly. And see, all this stems from the thought of Marxism, communism.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And see, look, I have a cousin in Mexico. His name's Luis, and he is a big Marxist. He loves the fact of communism. And it sounds like I've read the book, and it's with Karl Marx, and I will say that it sounds perfect. It's a utopia. It's good. There's only one problem with it, and it's the biggest problem that destroys the whole argument of communism, is that you would have to be a tyrannical person, because your ambition is different from mine ambition. There's people that are okay with making $15,000 a year. There's some good people that are okay with making $100,000 a year. There's some people that's like, no, that's not what I want to make. I want to make 500,000 a year. And there's some people that's like, hey, I want to make more, you know? So there's no way, in order for communism to work, everyone must like the same thing, because they want us to have like a beehive mentality where this is your job. You get this 800 square foot condo, and everyone gets the same thing. Everyone gets the same food, you know? So yeah,
You must stay in your lane.
yeah,
type
you know,
of deal.
yeah, like living like ants, basically. You're the ant, the soldier, whatever. Yeah, I. That's what they're trying to say, that if we were to agree with that, we could make wonders, because everybody would be happy, satisfied doing their job. So that's their utopia. That's what they want, a beehive mentality, meaning, you know, the poor and the rich, and the rich is and everything is owned by the people. So your house won't be your house; it'll be owned by the government, because the government is the people. So no more private sector, no more, like, this business would not be yours; it would be the government, you know. And so it's like, on a perfect world where everybody wants the same thing, it works. That's why, if you think the major cities like Houston, Los Angeles, that's what they want. They're brainwashing. They think they're okay with that. And that's why some of them can't understand, like, why do you want to, like me, right? Why do you want to have 3 acres or 2 acres in your property? And, well, because that's what I want. I don't want to live next. I don't want to hear my neighbor fart. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I just want to, that's, again, that's the human, I don't want to say,
Individuality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
It kills the individual pursuit of happiness.
exactly. And communism that wouldn't work under communism.
Right.
Because
Don't you find that ironic? In communism, you have, the people. You have the people working, like you mentioned, the little cubicles, whatever. But they still got the rich people on top.
Yep.
Why they not the same like us?
Exactly. And that's because
That's a big flaw under
in their whole train of thought.
because if you're the president, you should be living in the same condo.
In the same cubicle. Exactly. Yeah, you just made a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, they eating lobster steaks on
Oh, yeah.
Fridays
While we're eating, this would be our meal
for the week.
for the week. Yeah. Like the people in Cuba have. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I seen that, man. They get like a pound, whatever rice, like a little
And-
block of
yeah.
cheese.
And the meat's not meat. It's not even.
It's like a spam or something.
Yeah.
It's just something, and you have to make it last for a week.
That is sad, dude.
And you have to make a big old line waiting for it with a little ticket
I know.
to get something to eat.
That is so crazy.
And I guess you're not even allowed to go fishing, nothing. It is insane. That's it. I'm telling you, it's like you say, one in paper looks good.
Yeah.
In theory,
Yeah.
oh, it sounds perfect.
Perfect.
But when you apply it,
Yeah, because and that's what I'm saying. Somebody has to be a tyrannical, because somebody has to make
Force,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, force you. And
force you to love your job.
yep, force you. And then that's it, right? Your job. And see, this is what people don't understand. And for those that hate their job, imagine if it became a socialist economy and a communistic, your job, your kids would do that job, because when you die, they're replacing you. They're not going to be able to have the freedom that you have now.
Or
where-
choosing.
Yeah, where you get to choose whatever you want to be, and that's why the rich people, the ones that don't want Trump, right? Because remember, they tell you, oh, Trump's for the rich, but look back in 2016, look back on 2020, look back on 2024, who funded the most? The rich people were funding the Democratic. They wanted him to to lose. They wanted Trump to lose. And why is that? Because the left wanted this socialist and this socialist economy. And the reason why the rich want that is because, like you said, they don't want to be the ones in the cubicle house. They want to be holding power. And see, in an open, and this is, again, the word capitalism came from the book of Karl Marx, because capitalism is free, open, capitalism. Like if this Topo Chico, right? If nobody likes this, no one buys it.
Mm-hmm.
That's capitalism, baby, right there. But when the government gets involved and tries to help them out, like General Motors back in 2015, that's not capitalism. And that's the thing, though. I honestly think that we need to get back to that, where uh, if you want something, buy it. If you don't, hey, a younger person might come up with a better drink, or the iPhone, right? Or Facebook. And that's why Facebook was really leaning with the Democrats, because it would put him on cruise control. He wouldn't have to make anything new. You would just either get Meta, that's it. Meta, Facebook or Instagram, that's it. And that's why they hated TikTok, because TikTok doesn't belong to America and all that. And, it's beating all Facebook and all them, right? So capitalism forces the companies to come up with new things for the consumer, because if not, someone new might come up and make something new,
Yeah, that is basically the role of capitalism. It just make it better, make it cheaper, make it more efficient. And free market, people like you and me, you be like, hey, I want to make my own construction business.
Exactly.
And you go ahead, like you did, you buy your truck, you got bad equipment, you go ahead, you go out there and get it and make that money. And if you don't want to do it, it's fine too. Yeah. It's your it's your problem.
Exactly.
If you want to do it or not. If you want to be poor, so be it.
So be it.
If you want to make money, get that bag, go get that bag.
Yeah, exactly. Go get that bag.
And people hate that. I don't know why people hate that.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, I still don't get it. Like, I got friends that are Democrats and they're good people, but in their approach of everything, they're conservative. I'm like, why are you thinking one way, but voting the other way? I'm like, I don't get it.
And see, it's the whole misconception. So remember, and going back to what I said, respect and fear.
Mm-hmm.
We thought the same. Well, the same thing. Help and a handout, we think is the same. See, there's an old saying that if I give you a fish, let's say I give you a fish every day for 5 years, and then one day I just stop giving you that fish, you're going to be mad at me. Where's my fish? Where's my fish, right? And what I'm doing is I'm crippling you. I'm making you depend on me.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if I teach you how to fish, you can get your own fish. That's helping. The other one's a handout. And a handout, it's in Spanish we say lo chiflas, in Mexican Spanish, which means you're spoiling them. And that word means spoil. You're making them rotten. You're spoiling them. And giving handouts, you can spoil people. And right now, I think that's what's going on. Everybody's entitled. Like they feel like the government owes me, or everyone owes me, because it's their right to do that. And it's like, well, no. No. We came here with nothing, and we're going to leave with nothing. You got to work your stuff, and that's the thing. And the thing is, everybody expects, you got these rappers, they're like, oh, I'm getting this money and this and that. And then they're collecting food stamps. So they're really not getting, they're not really getting it. They're getting out of our dime, which is, I respect the hustle, however you get it. But my point is, I prefer that than the people that are just complacent and just getting food stamps and
Section 8,
and they're not going anywhere. And they are complaining like, oh, I hate my job. I can't get another job. I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's like, again, coming back to the conservative mentality, well, you're in that position because you putting yourself
your own choice. Yeah.
And this is why we're looked on. People look at conservatives like we're greedy or we're heartless. But in reality, it's not. We're actually, it's kind of like a stern father and a father that's not stern.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a father will be like, a stern father would be like, hey, you fell down. It's okay to cry, but get up. Versus a father that's like, oh my God, are you okay? Let's stop what we're doing right now. Oh my gosh, let's assess your knee. And it's like you're coddling too much. And life is crazy because I'm finding out that everything's a balance. If I drink too much water, it's bad. If I drink not enough water is bad. It's like a balance, right? If I eat too much, I get fat. If I don't eat enough, I could get starve and die, right? So like the same thing, we need to learn that balance that hey, it's okay to cry, but get back up. And see this is what's going on right now that we allowed somehow the left to teach these kids the manners instead of us teaching our own kids to and a lot of it has to do because everyone has to work now, right? And so no one's raising the kids and we're trying to let the school raise the kids, but that self-entitlement is what's I think it's ruining. And back to the point is that that's why you're not hearing a lot of people wanting to do the whole hey, I want to get rich, I want to make money, like the way we grew up, we
Yeah.
were
Yeah, I had to work.
exactly.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I was like, man, going back, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, I was always hustling. I always used to grab
Same
my
here.
dad's lawnmower, a little push
Tell
brake.
the neighbors, hey,
Yeah,
let me cut the
hey,
grass.
your grass is kind of knee high. Can I go cut it? They're like, oh, yeah. Back then, like
5 bucks.
93, yeah, it was $5. And that was a lot of money. If you
Yeah.
think of $5 now, it's like $25
I
now.
know.
So that's how I grew up. But in the last subject that I want to talk to you about,
Yes, sir.
immigration.
Oh yeah.
Man,
Let me
what
take my
a
jacket for this.
crazy,
Go.
what a crazy time. But remember, Trump left office, and he didn't get reelected in 2020, and I believe it's like it was a blessing in disguise,
Yep.
not winning.
Yep.
Because if not, we would be a spoil
Exactly.
of winning
Yeah.
and not seeing what happening. But now, 2020, 2024 was crazy. Like they were estimating over 20 to 30 million easy of illegal, undocumented people, illegal immigrants. And that's not counting the non-contacts.
I know.
The estimated,
The ones that
the ones that the skip, the
ones that got away.
the getaways, right?
Yeah.
So and and those getaways are like Chinese terrorists
terrorist,
and
Salvadoreños, MS-13.
whoever were
Yeah.
fleeing from El Salvador probably got back in the States.
Yeah.
But what is your thoughts on Donald Trump, Tom Holman, basically
Well, I-
cracking down on illegal immigration?
I am so for it. Everything they're doing, I'm for that. In fact, Vivek, he had a plan about challenging and they're doing it right now. It was Vivek's idea, not Trump's, but of challenging birthright citizenship. So I am also in agreement with that. I think again, my people or my parents' people, I should say, is that the Mexicans and all immigrants, right, that are here illegally. My question is, what are you doing about it? Again, and and I know this is hard to probably understand if you don't believe that you are in control of your own destiny, right? The conservative thought point, but it's like my dad's brother. My dad was a twin, and I say was because my uncle passed away. But both my dad, they came here illegally, like they jumped the border and everything, and he even got deported once or something, helping his brother, making sure his brother made it because, and it's anyways. But what my dad did, he went to a community college in California, learned how to read and write in English. That professor from that community college, because they used to give it for free. My dad would go to work, go to that community college, learn English, and then go home. And somehow, fast forwarding it, he got his permanent residence card, and then his brother got his permanent resident card, and his brother had a family in Mexico, wife and kids, and he worked. My uncle worked 18 years sending money to a lawyer. Now, granted, that maybe that lawyer was kind of ripping off my uncle, but regardless, he was paying, and he was able to get his family American citizens. Then he took his citizenship and got Americanized too. And he brought them here. He was able to enjoy them for 4 years. Then he passed away. And this happened under the Obama administration. So for those that say, "Oh, it's hard," it's not like how it was with Reagan, and this happened in Obama. So, he passed away. He got to enjoy them for 4 years in North Carolina, but I look up to my uncle and my dad because they didn't go out there partying, drinking, throwing parties, throwing this. Because I know a lot of illegals, and I worked in the oil field, and I will tell you, the rig welders, there's at least I know about 75 of them don't have papers, making $4,000 a week from the 80s, all the way from the 80s up to now.
Wow.
You're telling me my uncle that was making $13 an hour and he paid a lawyer and got his family fixed, he was able to achieve that. But then you got these 75 people, and I'm sorry, they already know how I am, whatever, right? But you couldn't spend a little bit of your money to get Americanized or get legal, get your green card. Instead, they're and there was this guy, he passed away from what I hear. His name, he was a good guy, but he was an illegal, and I used to troll him, always get on his nerves because he would always throw parties, and he would spend like $5,000 every time he threw a party. And so I would tell him, "Hey, Guerra, you threw the party. How much did you spend this time?" He would be like, "Oh man, I spent about $6,000, And I'd be like, "And how much did you spend for your lawyer to get citizen,
My God.
and then he would be like, "Ya vas a comenzar," like, "You're going to start that shit again?" And I'm like, "No, well, I'm just saying, And I used to troll him all the time, like, "Dude," and he would say, "Well, this is not where I'm going to die. I'm building a house in Mexico and this and that." And he passed away here. But I'm in COVID, and all I'm saying is this. If you come here, let this be your home. We'll accept you. I think anybody would. But when you come here and you feel like the world owes you, like you have to speak Spanish because, I can't go to Mexico and have them, "Hey, you need to speak English." Or I can't go to Puerto Rico and tell them, "Hey, you have to speak English to me." Or I can't go to France and do that either. They'll look at me like, "What do you, this is France, learn French." But they come here and they think, "Oh, you have to talk to me in Spanish." And that right there is what makes people kind of not like you, because you have that entitlement, that need. And that's just one subject of that. So what I'm trying to say is that if we could just, like, if you are here illegally and you're trying to make this your forever home, then you need to prove your loyalty to this country. And, I got in an argument once with my dad because I told my dad, I'm an American, you are a Mexican American because you were born in Mexico and you became an American citizen. But I'm American. I have no ties to Mexico. What has Mexico done for me? I don't owe Mexico anything. Mexico doesn't owe me anything. I don't owe it anything. There's nothing. If there was a war right now between us and Mexico, I'm killing some Mexicans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's where my allegiance is, And, I understand my dad's, discomfort in hearing that. But honestly, this is my country as well, as much as, and this country is everyone's country. And I get it, the country of immigrants. But again, to me, if you're on the fence whether if America went to war with Mexico or whatever country you're from, just look at it that way. If you are having a conflict to defend your country, then you don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? Because I want somebody that's gonna want to defend their country, their home. But if you're coming here and you're just like, you know what, I can't fight against this other country, then you have allegiance to that country, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where it doesn't sit right to me. I think, to me, if you come here, and I know a lot of people that are illegal, that have said, you know what, this is my home now. I don't want to go back. You know, and they're hard workers and all that. And I know under Trump's administration, they're gonna get fixed. Because in 2018, when he was president, he wanted his wall funded. He wanted the wall funded, and the Democrats at that time were fighting about DACA. You know what DACA
Yeah.
is, right? And then, I don't know if you remember this, but Donald Trump says, "Well, let's compromise. DACA is useless because all it's not even a solution. It's just a band-aid." That's what he said, right? So he said this: fund me the wall, and then I will make citizenship to all the DACA recipients and anyone that's been here more than 10 years and hasn't broke a law. And the Democrats said no. And they closed the government on the 2018. And they didn't publicize this. But okay, so what does that tell me now? Trump is, I'm sure this is his plan. He's going to finish the wall. He's going to get the immigration sorted out after the birthright citizen stuff. Because see, if that goes through, the Democrats are lying. They're talking about, oh, they're going to deport everyone that's born from an illegal. No. He's only asking for 4 years back. Basically, all the people that came from 2020. He wants to take them back. So I'm sure, you use your logic, he's going to give citizenship to all the people that are
Up to 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, why you want to give citizenship to people that you haven't even vetted yet?
Yep.
I mean, make no freaking sense.
No.
And people, like, it don't sit to me as well, like people complaining and making protests about, oh, I hate America. Like, so why you here?
Exactly.
Like, if you come to my house and you come to my living room and you tell me, hey, Julio, I don't like your house, and I will kick the fuck out of you out of my house.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
If you don't like it, go.
But
here's the door. Don't let you hit you in the back on the way out.
But the worst thing is this. So I break into your window, and now I'm sitting in your dinner table eating dinner with you,
And ask me for food.
and I'm asking you for food, and I'm sleeping in your couch, and you're just being the nice guy because you're like, man, when is he leaving? What the heck? Why did you break into me? Right? That's what's going on. And then I tell you, I don't like your house. I think your house is garbage. I prefer the house that I come from. What's the argument? Like, then why are you here? You know? Why did you break my window? Why did you come in through? You know, it's just
And utilize my resources
exactly.
to tell me, like, oh, you hate America because we don't want you here?
That's the same equivalent of you protesting with the Mexican flag. You know, they were out there in the streets, and it's just like,
It make him look back, though.
yeah, it does. Because it's like, well, then go back. I mean, you love that country so much. And then this is, again, they're confusing government, a country, and the culture. So when they're waving this flag, they're thinking, oh, it's the culture. But again, you're waving the culture, and you're waving a flag of a country. So it's because Mexicans, you know, it's not even a real thing. It's like Americans is not, you know, like United States, because we're mixed. We're all like mixed. We're not like, it's not an ethnic, you know, like it's, you know,
there is not an ethnic. It's not like Puerto Rican, just Puerto Rican.
Exactly.
Or Cuban, they're just Cubans.
Cubans, yeah, exactly.
We all mixed together.
We're all mixed together. Americans were, so it's like, I understand your culture, and some of you guys like the culture. Like, I don't like all the Mexican culture. So, and that's why I say I'm an American, because like the quinceañeras, I don't embrace that, you know, because there's a lot of history about that with pedophilia and all that, you know? So I can't, I don't like that. I don't support that. So, but back to the whole thing that, you know, you're making yourself look bad by waving you're protesting that you want to stay in America, so you would be waving the American flag, and then possibly wear the Mexican colors or something, right? That makes sense because you're saying I'm not embracing Mexico's the government, but I'm embracing the Mexican culture,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
But
proud
you're
of being Mexican.
yeah, like kind of how like the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans, y'all, y'all wave the Puerto Rican flag and or the Cubans, but they'll be out there with the American flag, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, but when you're just waving the Mexican flag and you're saying Mexico is the best, and then they claim like, oh, these are stolen grounds. This was Mexico anyways, and it's like, oh my God, you guys are so dumb because you don't know your history. There's a difference between conquer and purchasing an agreement. Um, and like Texas, I had to educate one of my cousins in Mexico because she was saying that Texas was stolen. It was not stolen. The Texans fought their independence and won.
And bought it.
Yeah, and so
Then we won it and then we bought it.
yeah, exactly.
We gave it like what 14 million back then,
Yep,
whatever.
back then, yep.
And we kept it from Colorado all the way to like
Because remember, United States was telling Mexico, "We'll give you $17 million."
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And they were like, "No, no, no." But Texans were fighting already. They were mad at Mexico. And remember the Alamo, they lost. So, okay, United States did something unethical. They sent their special forces to help fight the Tejanos. That's where that name came from, right? To fight that war and win their own war. And they won their own war.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just so happened that Santa Anna was over there. So they kidnapped him. And they made him, hey, you're going to sell us the property. And he was like, okay. And you're just going to take 14 million and then let him go, right? And then Texas, which people don't know this, Texas was its own country for 10 years. It didn't even join the union. So United States was California, and Texas was its own country for 10 years. That's why it's called the Lone State. That's why we're the only flag that can be on the same side of United States, because we're the only state that could annex. We have that option, right? Obviously, it's never going to happen, but
Yeah, but if we could, we had the opportunity. We have sea.
we have our own militia.
Yeah.
No other state has that.
Yeah, we have a lot. That's why I moved to Texas. We got opportunities here that no other states has.
Yeah, exactly.
And we produce a lot of energy, and we produce a lot of steel. We have ports. We move stuff in and out.
And Texas is just amazing.
It
you
is.
know?
Overall, I like Texas. I like barbecue, all this stuff.
Everything.
Man, I love that. Hey, I'm glad. I appreciate you being here, Roberto.
Thank you so much for having me.
Man, we have to come back and do another one.
Yep.
In the future. But if you guys follow me, just if you haven't followed me yet, just follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all the stuff. I would link it down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and take care. All right, bye-bye. Mi hermano, me gusta hablar contigo.